good. Then I'll give you the link. Come on. Fine. YouTube. You can do it, YouTube. And we're going to choose with YouTube. Can't hear it. Nothing is happening. Something is happening. Oh, oh, I can hear something. Wait. Oh, it's terrible. Can you count briefly for a second?
1, 2, 3.
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, this is the thing is the
1, 2, 3.
yeah, but your audio, my audio is completely. Can you hear me well?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. Like you think nothing about it? Not really. No. So it's 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Discord, Discord. You well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Your audio is good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Testing, testing.
yeah, your
We
audio.
can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. My audio, my
I
stream.
just lagged out for a second because I switched networks.
Oh, it's okay. My my stream card. Okay. Oh, my audio is a little bit louder. Maybe it's going to get louder by itself. This is what happened last time. It just got louder and louder by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, now it's good. Unbelievable. It's some nonsense. Yeah, now it's good. All right, we can start. Okay, yeah, my proposition sounds really benign. So, well, define veganism. Go ahead. I'm all ears. Did we lose you? Who was I debating? Can somebody remind me? Can anyone hear me? One, two, three. Oh, now they can't hear me. Oh, shoot.
Are you still setting up?
Oh my God. Let me try and exit and come back. One, two, three, four, five. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Let me see that. Okay, one, good, good. Sounds good. All right, so we're only 1,000 years into this stream. We can start. All right, so I said, please define veganism.
Uh, Veganism, as I understand it, is the refusal or personal choice to not eat animal-based products, that being primarily meat, fish, eggs, milk, that sort of thing.
Okay, start over. It's the what? Refusal?
It's the personal
Person?
uh,
Or whatever.
decision, or
You don't have to be accurate. It's not going to make sense any which way you want. I've tried making sense of it for years. It doesn't work. So you don't have to be accurate. I'll let you fix it as many times as you want. So the refusal,
okay.
you know,
The refusal, decision not to eat animal products, animal-based products,
to
that being
eat.
primarily meat,
Okay, whatever.
also
Not
from
to eat.
fish.
Oh, not to eat animal products. Okay, products. Not to eat animal products. That's it. With
Yeah,
the examples. All right.
yeah,
All
I'd
right.
go with that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it could make sense, but that's not veganism. I mean, veganism is supposed to be ethical, isn't it? The refusal to
Uh,
not to eat animal
I
products.
I
That's
don't know about that. I definitely don't know about that.
you've never heard that veganism is an ethical framework?
I didn't say that. I said that veganism isn't necessarily an ethical framework. So
Wait a minute.
uh,
Wait,
you,
there
I'm sure you would,
one second. There's vegetarianism, there's veganism, right? These are a little bit different, aren't they?
which which are related. Yeah.
So that sound what you're saying sounds like vegetarianism. Veganism is different.
Well, vegetarians would eat things like eggs or milk or cheese,
Okay, but what you
maybe
said,
fish sometimes.
fine. So it sounds like the person you're describing eats only vegetables. Like he avoids animal products. Okay, so he doesn't eat. What about using gloves? Does your definition of veganism have anything to do with using leather gloves?
I would say that that would be likely part of the consideration.
All right, I'm
But
confused.
choosing vegan gloves or vegan boots doesn't necessarily apply to
Okay,
all vegans.
what's the
There's
motive?
lots of different vegans.
All right, what's the motivation for this veganism? By your
Uh,
understanding, it's not ethical.
there could be many motivations.
Really?
Um, I just looked up the definition on Oxford. The practice of eating only food not
Hold on.
derived from
Wait,
animals
vegan
and
gains.
typically
Hold
avoiding
on.
the
Hold
use
on.
of
Vegan
other
gains. Hold
animal
on.
products.
Hold on. Vegan gains is joining my stream. Is he? Hello.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, are you
Yeah, how
streaming?
do I get in on the conversation?
Oh, it's on what's his name? Ask yourself. So join. Come to ask yourself.
Oh, it's on his server?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there in a minute.
All right.
I,
All right. So vegan gains is
They're
about
back.
to enter the room. That's good.
oh,
Oh,
neat.
Yeah.
Vegan gains.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm a
yeah,
big
what's
fan.
up?
Hey. Yeah, what's up? Do you want vegan gains? I mean, Richard, do you want to take over or do you want to listen? What do you want to do?
Yeah, somebody told me you're having a debate about veganism. Like, what are you guys talking about so far?
Well, my proposition.
We haven't really started. So I am not a vegan, but I'm going to argue in favor of veganism because normative, whoever, whoever I'm talking to. By the way, what should I call you?
Oh, I'm Mr. Slave.
You can just call me vegan game. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm.
Sorry,
Well,
Mr.
yeah, I just want to make sure, Richard. This is Mr. Slave speaking. Ask
Yeah.
yourself. Isaac gave me this weird name.
Mr. Slave.
Yeah, I'm Mr.
Okay,
Slave.
Mr. Slave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Mr. Slave argued that veganism is nonsense. I feel like that's probably a little bit nonsensical, but there's probably something more under the hood. So we were going to get into that, but we haven't yet. He asked me to define veganism, and I said it's just the refusal or the unwillingness or the property of not choosing to eat or use animal products. Vegetarianism would be avoiding meats mostly. Vegans might avoid eggs and milk and cheese and such like that. Vegans also might choose to purchase vegan gloves or vegan boots, although that might not be true for everybody. And then he argued that veganism is an ethical framework, to which I said it could be, but isn't necessarily.
Okay. I disagree with your definition. The definition that I would give for veganism is it is a ethical belief and lifestyle that grants animals the same rights as human beings if they were to be trait equalized to those animals. So, if we were to find human beings that have similar levels of intelligence, sentience, and maybe physical abilities or disabilities, we would grant human rights to those humans that have a similar level of intelligence or ability as, say, a chicken, a cat, or a pig. So that would be the
Okay.
definition I would use. And then, yeah, and
I would
then if
personally,
yeah,
I
if
would
you
disagree with that definition, but we can use that definition. I mean, surely there are vegans that do it for reasons that are not ethical.
no, by definition, veganism is an ethical position.
You don't think somebody could choose to be vegan because they have some sort of environmental concerns, believe it to have health impacts, or even just decide that it's an interesting limitation to choose to be vegan in order to learn
No,
how to
I
cook
would
better,
say
or
I would say by
would say that those
definition they
people are
wouldn't be vegan
not
because yeah, any of those things. So it could very well be the case. It probably isn't, but could be the case that eating animal products is more environmentally friendly. It could be healthier for you. So they would just go back to eating meat if they found out that were the case. So it is fundamentally an ethical view.
Okay.
okay.
So,
We can use that definition.
what do you mean? So, who am I debating? Richard, do you want to debate me?
Yeah, I'd like to.
That's terrific. All right.
I am actually vegan too, so
I know, Richard. We know each other. You don't remember me?
your voice sounds familiar.
Yeah, you blocked me on my channel. You refused to unblock me. I still don't know why. I've always been very nice to you. I like you very much. I enjoy debating you. I don't know. I mean, we could do lots of debates. I think our debates are, you know,
I can't remember blocking you. I'm on your channel, Mr. Slave, and you're not blocked.
you're on my channel. Well, I am blocked.
Yeah, Mr. Slave.
Are you streaming live now?
Yeah, I'm looking at your channel, and I'm looking at whether or not I blocked you, and you're not blocked. It's giving me the option to report user.
Okay. Well, I guess fantastic. I'll give it a shot next time I'm on your channel. Okay, so let's talk. So, Richard, would you say that veganism is a scientific theory?
No.
Okay. Then I would say that it is therefore nonsense.
Okay, would you say law is a scientific theory?
Well, we could state law as a scientific theory if we wanted to, sure.
Well, it's not. I don't know by what definition of scientific theory. Like law is just essentially a normative position. It's basically just stating that there should be certain rights granted to individuals to provide the most amount of benefit to a society. I don't see how that's a scientific theory.
Well, let me help you. So we can propose a scientific theory that we have noticed a scientific phenomenon that human cultures create legal systems, create law, and then we can further discuss this scientifically as a scientific phenomenon. We can objectively, as objectively as possible, we can study it, and we can,
Well, you can study law, but law itself isn't a scientific theory.
well, I don't know what law itself is. We can propose law as a scientific theory, and if you don't propose it as a scientific theory, then whatever it is you are doing is utter nonsense. If you want to study law as a scientific theory, then I can relate to it. Otherwise, I cannot relate to it. I don't know how to relate to a non-scientific theory.
Okay, so do you believe human beings should have rights?
Wait, what happened to the law? You said you tackled me with law.
Yeah,
and
we're talking about law.
No,
We're talking
no,
about law, and
no,
this
you can't.
directly relates.
Okay, so this is law. You're still with law. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, do you think human beings should have rights?
That's ad hominem. This has nothing to do with me. I'm a scientist.
That's not an ad hominem.
Yes,
That's a question. Do you think human beings should have rights? Yes
That's
or
ad
no?
hominems. I have nothing to do with this discussion.
Do you know what an ad hominem is?
Yes.
I didn't personally
Okay,
attack you in any way. So,
That's an ad hominem attack. No. You're referencing me in this discussion. I have nothing.
do you know what an ad hominem is?
Okay, so you're referencing me. Is that the best?
So, do you know what an
ad?
ad hominem is?
Okay, Richard, stop.
Can you give me the definition of ad hominem? Because what I said was not an
I
ad
can give
hominem.
you my
I don't think you know what it
definition.
is.
I can give you my definition of ad hominem, and that that's it. I can tell you.
Well, if your definition of ad hominem is a duck, I don't really care. There is a definition of ad hominem.
There's no such. There's no a definition of anything.
Yes, there is.
No, there is.
There is a definition
No,
of
there
ad
isn't.
hominem.
No, there is no a definition of anything. Words are social constructs. They are part of languages that evolve side by side with humanity and with all.
That's great. So, what is an ad hominem?
Well, according to me, what do I feel is an ad hominem? It's a logical fallacy. You're referencing your debate partner instead of referencing the topic at hand.
I asked you a question. So, how is asking a question an ad hominem?
You asked me a personal question about me, about my preference. It has nothing to do with this discussion.
Yes, it does. We're
No, it
talking about a normative topic
I don't
that
even know what that
relies on personal preference.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what normative is.
We're talking about an ethical topic.
I don't know
Ethics
what that is.
require the
definitely don't know.
existence of a preference.
Is the word ethical? Can you state it as a scientific theory?
I don't know what any of that matters. So we're talking about ethics, veganism.
If this is not a scientific discussion, then it's utter nonsense, and I cannot relate to it. Try as I might.
Okay, so when you're choosing to like eat certain foods, like I don't know, maybe you'd
You're
prefer a
heading towards
sandwich
ad hominem.
or an orange
Nothing
juice,
to do with
is
me.
there a scientific basis behind any of your choices, or is that purely based off preference? Is there a scientific way to determine fashion? Like I'm assuming you don't go outside in a clown costume, right?
What happened?
So
to
your
the law?
choice of attire is
what's
there a
going on?
scientific?
Okay, I'm lost. You tackled me.
We're not
with the law.
talking about
No, you
science. We're
cannot-
talking about normative
I
values.
am, but
So I'm just asking you:
I'm not
do you
interested-
believe human beings
I'm
should have
not-
rights?
I'm not interested in any discussion other than a scientific discussion. Any other type of
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay, then leave.
Hold on.
Then
Wait,
leave.
no,
We're
no,
talking about
no, then you
veganism,
lose.
which is
No,
a
then you
normative
lose.
topic.
No,
If
no,
you want
then
to talk
you
about
lose.
science,
No.
then leave.
No, then you lose because my proposition was veganism is utter nonsense.
You didn't make a proposition to
I
me.
did. It's in the general chat. It's in the chat. There's a proposition. Veganism is utter nonsense. Same proposition I made to Dr. Avi and Ask Yourself, Isaac, in my first discussion when I mopped the floor with their faces. Nothing changed since then.
Yo, keep in mind, neither of us grant that is a proposition, let alone a proposition we
Yeah.
disagree with.
They refuse to understand the definition of utter and nonsense. That's how great debaters they are. The great debaters, they could not understand for an hour and a half. I was trying to explain to them the definition of utter and nonsense. They just couldn't figure it out. It was beyond their understanding, comprehension. That the great two debaters, your great teachers, Richard. That's what they had to say. When I just that was my first day in my life debating, and I mopped the floor with their faces. My
Okay, well, that's good. Why don't you mop the floor with me by being able
I've
to
already
answer a
done it.
simple
You already
question?
told
Do
me
you
to
believe
leave.
human beings should have rights or not?
You already disengaged. You told me to leave. You lost this debate. It's over. We can have a nice discussion now.
Yeah, so do you believe human beings should be granted rights, yes
That
or no?
has nothing to do with this discussion. Veganism is an
Yes, it does,
unscientific.
since we're talking about veganism, and it was stated in my proposition that I believe humans should have rights, animals should also be extended the same rights.
No, the proposition was veganism is utter nonsense. It is utter nonsense, nothing else. It is unscientific. It is an unscientific theory. It is utter nonsense, like every other unscientific theory. It's just unscientific.
So, do you think any normative position, since it's non-scientific, any normative position is nonsense?
Any unscientific theory is nonsense. You either make a scientific theory.
Okay, well, we're not talking about theories. We're talking about
And it's
normative
nonsense.
positions.
And I have nothing
So
to
is
say.
any
And I have
normative
nothing to say.
So any normative position is nonsense. So if you think raping children is bad, that's utter nonsense.
Okay, again, you're heading towards ad hominem.
That's not an ad hominem. I'm
You're
asking you a
stop,
question.
Look, Richard,
Do-
stop
Is
referencing-
any
stop
is
referencing.
any normative position nonsense? Yes or no?
I think if it's an is that a scientific theory? Is your proposition a scientific theory?
I'm not claiming it's a
Then
scientific
there you
theory.
go.
So
Then
is
I have
any
nothing-
normative
then I have
position
nothing-
utter
Then I have
nonsense?
nothing to say about it.
Is any normative position utter nonsense?
Give me an example of a normative position.
So thinking raping children is bad, is that utter nonsense?
I mean, what do you mean? I don't even know what you're saying. Okay, so this could be.
Do you think So do you think
I don't know.
having the
honestly,
position?
Look, I have nothing to say about it. It's unscientific. As a scientific theory, it has to start with we noticed a phenomenon. Let's say
We're not talking about scientific
Look,
theories.
let me
We're
help
talking
you.
about
I'll help you.
normative
See,
positions.
Richard, I'll help you.
Well, no, I'll help you. We're talking about normative positions. If your statement is, I only care about descriptive facts, and you don't care about normative positions, that would logically mean you think any normative position is utter nonsense. So if somebody thinks raping children is bad, would you call that utter nonsense?
No, stop. Okay, we cannot bring that topic up. I'm streaming on my channel. I don't want to, get a strike.
Okay, do you think, okay, if you had the position that
Let's just
Hitler was
steal
bad,
candy.
is
The
that utter
example is
nonsense?
going to be the example is going to be steal candy from a candy store. That's the best we can do with YouTube.
So do you think
That's ad
if you had the position that Hitler was a bad person,
Okay,
is
stop.
that utter
Stop.
nonsense?
We're stealing candy from a candy store. Don't say anything else. I don't want to get my channel removed. I leave these videos on. I don't hide them.
Okay, so I
Candy
think I'm
from a
done.
candy
This guy just doesn't want to debate.
So you
All
cannot
right, take
talk
care.
about candy from a candy store? That's too much for you? Hold on. No way. I did not think you're going to disengage on that. So you again disengaging the debate. Okay. I'm just getting used to mopping
did
the
he leave?
floor with your people's faces. My floor is so clean. It's great. Great. Clean floor. Anybody else wants to debate me? Anyone that's
Now that Vegan Gains is gone, I recommend everyone leave to just starve slave of attention. It's probably the best thing you can do.
anyone who wants to stay is welcome to stay and debate me and get
So I said I'd debate it.
somebody wants to debate me?
So you say that his ethical position is nonsense, but that doesn't seem to follow because he can
say
absolutely
that.
explain
I didn't
what
say
the sense is
that. I
in
didn't
it.
say that. I didn't say that.
Oh.
I said we can propose an ethical theory, and That's easy. We can propose anything scientifically. We can propose an ethical scientific theory. That's easy. And we can study ethics
Do you
scientifically.
do you if if I make a moral normative statement that killing somebody unjustified is
That's
wrong,
meaning. No, stop, stop.
uh,
We're only stealing candy from candy store. I don't want to lose my YouTube channel. So we're only stealing candy from candy
okay,
stores. What do you want to say about that?
okay, let's assume that is something that is morally wrong, right?
I don't know what
Stealing
that
candy from a
means.
candy store is
I
a
don't know
wrong
what you
thing to
just
do.
said. I don't know what you just. I don't know what it means. Are you making? Hold on one second. Who's contacting me? Okay. So I don't know. So you need. I'll help you rephrase every time you make an unscientific claim. I'll help you convert it to a scientific claim that will make sense to me.
None of this is scientific.
So it's nonsense. If you make it, if you're unscientific,
No, no, no,
I
no.
don't know what to do
Hold
with
on,
you.
hold
I
on.
cannot relate to you. Yes, go ahead.
Not everything has to be scientific.
For me, yes.
Science is a process by
For me,
which you
yes.
understand the world and you can make
Yes,
predictions about
yes. For me, yes. For me, everything needs to be scientific. Otherwise, there's nothing. I don't know how to relate to it.
morality. Morality doesn't work that
We
way.
can,
Morality
we
is not
can,
scientific.
we can analyze morality scientifically. We can propose a scientific theory. We can say that there is a phenomenon that we have noticed. It's called morality, and we can propose a theory.
You think that you can observe moral facts that you can definitively find in the universe somewhere through some experimentation, whether something is morally good or morally bad.
As long as we keep our scientific, wording, there
How
should
would
be no
you
issue.
how would you go about scientifically proving that stealing is morally bad?
Actually,
Stealing from a candy store
actually,
is bad.
it's very bad. It's very bad. It's very easy. So it's right. You're gonna make it. It's very simple. So first, you start with with noticing the phenomenon. So we have noticed a phenomenon that that people steal from candy stores, right? That's one phenomenon we've noticed. We've noticed another phenomenon
Sure.
that
I
people
think you're
say.
going towards that if everybody behaved this way, it would lead to a bad society or
I don't
something
know
to
what
that
that
effect.
means. I don't know. You're tying the horse in front of the carriage. Look, I'm letting you know how to state something scientifically, and then we can analyze it. And there's no other way I know how.
But you're not. You're not though.
I'm
You're
not.
not stating morality
Yes, I
scientifically
am.
because
You're cutting me mid
that is
sentence.
So
nonsense.
You're cutting me
let him
off mid
speak,
sentence.
understand his worldview, then you can break it.
Wait, this
So
is two
let
on
him
one.
speak.
I can't do 2-on-1. It's got to be 1-on-1. So choose who is your hero, and I'll fight your hero. Not 2-on-1. 2-on-1 is too messy.
Uh,
Who is the
I'm
hero?
not. I'm not sure who Jack was talking to. Maybe he was trying to illustrate for me, or was
All right, I don't know either. So
Jack
we're just
have something?
Jack. What do you want to say? I don't know what he wants to say. Everybody's
Nothing.
nothing. Look, everybody's welcome to interject. I'm open, but in general, I'd rather keep it 1-on-1. So whenever the hero wants to leave, somebody wants to replace him, I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
So I think that your statement that moral facts can be scientifically observed or scientifically determined actually is nonsense because they are two totally different fields that have nothing to do with one another. You can't definitively prove through experimentation that something is morally good or morally bad.
Okay, so you cut me off the first time I tried to help you to phrase morality in a scientific way. So if you let me finish, and I'll help you create a very
But
simple
you no, no,
scientific.
no, no.
Oh, you don't want me to do it.
You're putting the cart before the horse because
What?
you haven't demonstrated that is wrong. That
You
that
cut
you
me
can
off mid sentence.
determine.
You cut me
Yeah,
off
you say
mid
you're trying to restate.
sentence. You cut me
I
off
know.
mid sentence.
That's
So
because
what do you mean?
I
I
know.
haven't said what you cut me off while I was saying. Yes, I haven't said that which you
You
cut
said that
me
you're
off
trying to help
as I
me
was saying.
praise something in morality
Are you gonna
scientifically,
are you
and I'm
gonna let
saying that
me are you gonna let me
you
talk?
haven't demonstrated that is
Are
a
you gonna let me talk?
possibility yet.
Are you gonna let me talk? I was about to make the other side.
Go
So
ahead.
I said, okay, so let's start over, and I'll start over. As long as you keep cutting me off, I'll have to start over. Anyway, let's propose morality stealing from a candy store as a scientific theory, together with and it's bad as you requested. Okay, so we've noticed a phenomenon that when people steal from candy stores, people say it's bad. That's the phenomenon. It's a scientific phenomenon that we have noticed. Nice. The next step would be
Okay.
to explain it. So we can explain it using the tools of psychology, sociology, economics. There's plenty of tools to explain this
Okay.
this behavior.
But you're smuggling something in there because you're not proving scientifically that this is a moral fact. You're proving scientifically that people believe that this is a moral fact.
What do you mean I'm smuggling? What did I I don't know what you just said.
So you said using psychology, you could use principles or tools of psychology to determine why people might that might explain why this phenomenon exists, that people say or believe that stealing from a candy store is bad, right?
I mentioned a bunch of related sciences, but yeah, it's
Sure.
a bunch of scientific fields. Sure,
But
yeah.
But the thing that's being measured here is the reasoning for is the explanation of the phenomenon of people believing morality to be bad. It's not. It has nothing to do with the principle of this being morally bad.
I don't know what a principle of bad. I only know scientific theories. So
Right. So you propose that there is such a phenomenon that people say or believe that stealing from a candy store is bad. Yes.
look, we can propose.
And so we can use.
Okay, hold on.
And so we can
Hold on.
use
You-
tools
no,
of
no, no,
science
you gotta
to explain.
I don't know where you're going. I don't know. I can help you do anything you want scientifically with any phenomenon that exists in nature. We can study it scientifically. There's no issue with that. That people say it's bad, that legal systems exist that say it's bad, that legal systems exist that punish it this way and that way. We can study all these things scientifically as scientific as natural phenomenon. It's really very straightforward. So I don't see what are you finding so difficult to absorb.
But you're smuggling something in there. For instance, legal theory is a good example. So, for instance, we can have legal theories about why laws should be the way they are, how
You're
prosecuting certain things.
legal
But
theory.
you can't find in legal theory. You can't perform science in legal theory to determine what
This
laws
guy
should
bitches
be.
so much about being interrupted, and then he just goes, no, 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 and talks over you so much. Oh my
You
god.
can leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, look. When I say no, it means there's no point in going on. You already misquoted me, misunderstood me.
Yeah, that's
I
what
didn't
he
say-
said, and you still kept bitching about it.
Okay, then leave, Dave.
But you're not following here.
Okay,
You're not following
I
that,
said
that there is a limitation of science when it comes to normative claims.
scientific, not just theory. Scientific, not legal theory.
Yes.
Legal
in
scientific.
science
No,
is
no,
the process of
scientific,
making
scientific.
observations.
A legal theory is not necessarily scientific. A scientific theory is we
Sure,
have
yeah.
noticed a phenomenon in nature. We would like to study.
Right. You make an observation.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Go ahead.
So the scientific process, you make an observation, you form a hypothesis, you
Yes.
run an experiment to determine
Yes.
whether the hypothesis
Correct.
was true or false.
Correct.
And then you can develop a theory that explains the hypothesis
Yes.
and predicts
Yes.
actions and further observations you'll find in the future under different circumstances.
Exactly.
At what point can morality be analyzed through this method? So, for instance, you cannot observe that stealing from this candy store is bad. You can, however, observe that people believe that stealing from the candy store is bad. You can explain the phenomenon that people believe this. And you can make all sorts of scientific inquiry into that phenomenon,
Yes.
that people believe this
Yes.
and why they believe this.
Yes.
But you cannot use the scientific method to observe anything regarding the underlying problem here, which is what we're discussing, that this action is morally bad.
I don't know what that means. Except for
So-
as a scientific
so
proposition. Wait,
you observe
you
the
gotta let me
phenomenon.
talk. You gotta let me say so. Why are you hogging the mic?
You said you didn't understand what I said, so I'm re-explaining it to you so that you do understand what I'm saying. So you said you didn't understand the difference between the underlying, the morality claim, and the phenomenon that people believe in this morality. You can absolutely survey people, for instance, to determine that this phenomenon exists, that people do believe that stealing from the candy store is bad, because that was what you said, that this is the assumption, this is the axiom here, is that this is morally bad. And so you can observe the phenomenon that people believe that this is morally bad, but you cannot observe that it is morally bad in and of itself. That's the underlying here. And you can't use the scientific method to evaluate morality claims or normative claims.
All right. So let's start over. This time, let me interrupt so I can correct you at every point because you made many mistakes. So start over. But be prepared for me to stop you so we can discuss your mistakes. Go ahead.
So there are ways to rectify this problem. For instance, utilitarianism says that you can
Are you
more or less
ignoring-
objectively measure the morality of things.
Ignoring me. You're just ignoring me now. You're just ignoring me. All right. That's
Okay, what I said is that you
honest.
cannot scientifically observe moral fact.
Wait, hold
You
on.
stated that it is a moral fact that stealing from the candy store is bad. You cannot observe that that is
I'm
true.
confused. Hold on. Are you ignoring me or not? I don't know where we're heading with this discussion. So now you're paying attention? Okay,
So I
so
started over.
okay, so good. So please make a short
Oh,
statement.
Step one.
Okay, step one. Go ahead.
Step one is you said we assume that it is a moral fact,
No,
right?
I never
That
said that.
stealing from the
Never
candy
said
store is
that.
bad.
Never said that. Never said. We start with
Okay, what did you say about the phenomenon?
when we notice a phenomenon that sometimes when
And the
people
phenomenon?
feel, let me say something, come on. Sometimes when we notice the phenomenon that people steal from candy stores, we then notice a follow-up phenomenon that some people say it's bad. Courts say it's bad, judges say it's bad, policemen say it's bad, parents say it's bad, people say it's bad. Okay, we discovered a natural phenomenon. Now we can proceed to examine it and study it and analyze and so forth with the tools of modern science. It's very easy, very straightforward.
Yes, that is almost true, but you're smuggling something in there, is what I keep saying. Is that all of these things that you said? So you can survey society, you can see the laws on the books, you can, and laws do follow from morality, or they correlate with morality.
I never said anything.
If a society,
I never,
yeah, right. So,
what do you mean?
but what you said is that these are observations that we can make, right? You can observe that society believes this
Can you
thing. You
stop?
can observe that the
Wait, are
courts
you
believe
talking
this
to
thing.
me?
But none of this is evidence.
Wait, but you can't.
None of this
continue-
is evidence
Wait,
for the
why
underlying.
are you steamrolling? What kind of a discussion are we having? That this is not a discussion. You got to stop because you make mistakes. I want to fix you. You're not letting me, so I got to assume you're doing this on purpose. You're trying to misrepresent me and debate with something that I'm not representing. I don't know. What are you trying to do? I don't know. It's really bizarre.
I feel like I'm being pretty good faith here.
But okay, then just stop when I ask you to stop. Why is that so difficult? Why are you steamrolling this discussion? If you're being good faith, then it's so simple. When I ask you to stop, stop, so that I can explain to you why you're misrepresenting my position. It's so simple. You keep doing it again and again. You haven't stopped. Why are you doing this?
But you're because your position necessitates that you can observe scientifically moral fact.
No, I never said that. I never use in my dictionary the word fact. I would never use it. It's unscientific. It's
Moral evaluation.
No, I don't use moral. We can study morality again as a scientific phenomena that we have noticed that people say
Right.
that it's
That's what I'm saying.
Let me just say that people say that it's immoral to steal candy from a candy store. That's it. You want
Yes,
questions?
and that is true.
What's your question?
But that is not evidence. That is not evidence to support the hypothesis of the underlying assumption here, which is stealing from the candy store is bad. That's the moral claim. That's the normative claim here.
I deny it. I deny that. That has nothing to do with my position. I completely deny. I never said that. I have nothing to do with that.
But
I don't know what it means. It's unscientific. It's not a scientific
proposition was that.
What? Why do you talk when I talk?
What do you mean? What is not a scientific theory? What do you mean by that?
Tiska, slow down, please. Don't talk over me. We're trying to understand each other. Be nice. It's not even being nice. Just let me finish. I hardly speak. I'm gonna allow you to speak as much as you want. Why are you steamrolling me all the time? Why are you doing this? Go ahead.
No, what is it that you said? So your position, again, was that you can scientifically evaluate morality.
No, I didn't. I mean, Sure. We can scientifically analyze any natural phenomenon that we have noticed. So if we notice people stealing from a candy store, from candy stores,
Yes.
we can, and people call it immoral, and we can study it. We can study anything. People say stuff is immoral. That's a phenomenon. We can study it. People say you should
Yes.
follow the law. That's a phenomenon. We can study it. We can study anything that repeats, any phenomena that seems to repeat. We can study it. If it doesn't repeat, it's a little bit more difficult. But as long as it repeats, it's easy. We can study veganism scientifically. People say
Yes.
veganism is
We're
terrific.
getting back there, but the thing that you're talking about, the thing that you can observe, you can use the scientific method to evaluate anything that you see in nature, but morality is not something that you see in nature. The phenomenon that you're observing, that people believe or people act like the stealing from a candy store is bad.
But that's
that is the phenomenon. But there's an underlying thing here, which is that stealing from a candy store is bad, and that you cannot evaluate
you
scientifically.
don't have to continue talking if I say I understand. I'm trying to reply. It's very similar to God. I can study God as a natural phenomenon. People say there is a God. Okay, we can easily study that scientifically. We can correlate it with economics, with metrics. Yeah, we can study it as a natural phenomenon that seems to repeat. Fantastic, very easy, very straightforward, very useful.
Sorry, repeat that. What did you begin with? What was the phenomenon again?
We can study God as a natural phenomenon such that people say that God exists. Okay, that's a natural phenomenon, namely that people say that God exists. I'm not saying God exists. I have nothing to say about God, but the fact that this phenomenon seems to repeat, that people say that God exists. Fantastic. Sounds like a natural phenomenon to me. I'm very curious actually about this phenomenon. Let's study it. Let's see what causes it. Can we predict something? Is it correlated? Is it caused by something? Maybe it could be very useful. Maybe we can find out the causes, fix the causes, get rid of religion, science. And we can study veganism as a natural phenomenon. Like, we have noticed that people are vegan. Go ahead.
But again, you're smuggling in the ethical evaluation as if it's scientific. So, for instance, you can study why people would believe in God despite not having evidence or having evidence to the contrary. That is absolutely something that you can study. I guess it would probably fall under maybe psychology or theology or something like that. But you cannot study whether the underlying principle here, which is the question of whether God exists or not.
Well, we can. We can say God exists. We have noticed we have noticed that God exists. We can propose, but that depends on the definition. It has to be a very weird definition.
We can propose it.
We have noticed miracles.
But can you prove it?
Right, but we can propose it scientifically. It could be proposed scientifically if you define God as a phenomenon that repeats itself. I don't know. I mean, like the ancient ones, they probably would have given you, like, they didn't know, like, where does life come from? They didn't know evolution, so they would have said, we propose a theory that, they probably proposed God as a theory to explain.
Well, no.
life. I don't want to get.
They did not propose a theory.
It's fine. I don't care. Look, I don't
because
care.
they weren't using the scientific method here.
It's not.
You can say
It's not.
you can propose that the rain is comes from a god or whatever.
Important. Stop. It's not important. Don't waste time. I take it back. Not important. Continue. Look, we can study. We can study.
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
You can study the phenomenon of veganism.
Yes.
Using the scientific method.
Yes.
But you cannot evaluate the underlying ethical principles here using the scientific method, because ethics or morality and science are totally disconnected.
Look, I cannot relate.
Okay, so
let me say something. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. I cannot relate to unscientific theories or to anything that is not a scientific theory. I cannot relate to. I don't know what to do with it. I honestly don't know what to do with it.
But you do so all the time.
What do you mean?
So, for instance,
And be careful.
Do you?
You're treading on ad hominem. You're about to reference me, I'm afraid. So it's not going to help you. I'm going to reject it. You cannot reference your debate counterparty. It's meaningless. You have to consider me as the lawyer representing your
That's
opponent's
not what an
position.
ad hom.
Go ahead.
That's not what an ad
I'm
hominem
going to
is.
reject any reference to me.
Um,
I will reject. You cannot reference me in this debate. I don't exist. I'm a pure AI. An AI is talking to you right now. That's what you have to assume.
That's still okay. For instance, let's say that it is very, very cold outside. It's minus 14 Fahrenheit,
Mhm.
where you live right now,
I don't live
in the middle
anywhere.
of the summer,
I'm
for whatever reason.
I'm a body. I'm not embodied. I don't live anywhere. Stop. Look, you're destroying this. All you're saying is that you have
Okay,
nothing.
let's say this applies to me then.
It's ad hominem.
Where I
Either
am
way,
currently,
it's
it's
ad hominem.
minus 14.
It's ad hominem. It's useless.
It's
You
minus.
cannot reference anyone. You have to
No, no, no,
reference.
no.
You
Look,
have to talk about the debate topic. Why are you finding it so difficult? Unless you have zero response at this point, which is fine.
no, 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 no. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's
Stop
minus 14
referencing.
outside.
Stop
I
referencing. No, no, no. It's useless. You're wasting time. You're just wasting time.
I should put on a coat, right?
I don't know what that means. I don't. I honestly don't know. Are you want to look? You can propose that as a scientific theory that we've noticed a phenomenon that people put on coats. That's the theory. Okay,
Exactly.
let's propose. I mean, that's the phenomenon
That
we've
when it's
noticed.
cold,
What?
yes, when it's cold, people put on coats. You're more likely to
Fine.
see coats when it's cold
That's
outside.
fine. That's fine.
And the reasoning for that, we can talk about the underlying biology. For instance, when it's too cold,
Yes.
you might die,
Yes, that's fine.
and the coat keeps you warm.
That's fine.
However, you cannot use this no matter how far deeply we explore this scientific theory about why people put on coats. You cannot conclude from that theory that I ought to put on a coat because it's cold outside.
Well, it depends. I mean, you can write. You can make a prediction. You can make a scientific prediction based on everything. That now I predict that if you don't put on a coat, you're gonna freeze to death as a scientific prediction from this theory or from other theories
Okay,
and so on.
but I don't care about that. Can you convince me to care about that?
Look, I can only present you the science, so you can do with the science
Mhm.
as you wish.
Oh, you're so close there.
What? What
So
happened?
what does the science say about whether or not I ought to put on a coat because it's minus 14?
What does the science say? I mean, we can get into the science. Can we get into? I mean, the science at the end of the day. For now, let's say it has science has nothing to do. For now, we can. I mean, it's a different topic, but we can get to it. Do you want to try and you want to try and
Yeah,
integrate it? Okay, let's.
it is the same topic, but it's a much more
Fine, fine.
simplified version here.
It's fine.
So
Fine. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. Okay. So I'm an amoral egoist, meaning I believe it is my scientific theory that everyone is an amoral egoist. That is what an amoral egoist means in my definition. All right, so everyone is an amoral egoist. You're an amoral egoist, whether you admit it or not. If you deny it, that's just part of your game as an amoral egoist. Virtue signal and so on. So everyone is an amoral egoist. Everyone tries to improve their lives to the maximum. That's just a scientific phenomena that we have noticed, that I've noticed. Yeah, I think
and
economics.
by amoral egoist here, you mean somebody who lacks morality and acts for the benefit of themselves.
Exactly.
Is that about right?
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
you could say that we've noticed it about every creature in since the first self-replicating molecule. It seems to be an evolutionary trait, Darwinism, and so on. However, as an egoist prefers good over bad, prefers more over less. So an egoist actually wants to live in a good society. He would prefer to live in a good society over a bad society. So an egoist would stand shoulder to shoulder with other egoists which now we can redefine as all good men, stand against evil. And suddenly, this amoral egoist behaves as if he is the ultimate moral altruist. But don't let it fool you. I mean, he's doing it for himself, and he will jump and lie on a grenade to save his men, because that is what, that serves ultimately his egoism. His amoral egoism is served by that, paradoxically as it may be, but that is the fact of the matter.
Sure.
So
I can agree with that. So, for instance, a beehive or an ant colony would demonstrate this behavior all the time. Ants
Sure.
will sacrifice themselves. Bees will
Humans-
sacrifice themselves as if they're not an individual but just part of the colony.
humans do this all the time. There's so many. I watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, right.
Humans do this all the time.
So let's get back to it is very cold outside, and then we can even go far enough as to say that since I'm wearing nothing but shorts and a t-shirt, if I go outside to go work in the forest, or I don't know, go work as a ski instructor, it's a job I used to have, then I will likely freeze to death.
Look,
But
you
you
don't have to go.
can you convince me that I ought to put on a coat?
Yeah. So look. So in order to convince you that you should want to live and live well, live a healthy, plentiful life, I have to convince you that you are an amoral egoist.
Yeah, but that's a different thing though, because I can act in the best interest of myself based on my own preferences.
No.
Is what egoism is. But there's there's my preferences. And how can you scientifically prove that my preferences ought to be something else?
No.
Perhaps I prefer to go out and freeze to death.
Look, it's just
Perhaps I prefer to commit
I
suicide.
understand. Look, it's just my experience, my little experience in converting people into amoral egoism. The little that I've tried to do.
No, I'm fully buying in right now.
Excuse me?
I'm fully buying into it right now. But the egoism smuggles in that the ego, the subject here, behaves in a way to maximize for their own preferences. But there's the underlying, which is the preferences.
Okay.
And you can't scientifically use this to prove that my preferences ought to be something else. For instance, you can't prove that I ought to put on a coat, or better yet, that I ought not commit suicide.
Look, okay, so yeah, I agree that I don't have a scientific theory that includes an ought.
That's not quite it though. I'm not proposing that you don't have a scientific theory. I'm proposing that a scientific theory cannot exist on this subject.
But I think amoral egoism has done that for me. I used to be my mindset was
sure because it's your own preferences.
No,
but I can't convince you that your preferences ought to be something else.
No, that's not.
I can't.
That's not what.
I can't scientifically evaluate what your preferences ought to be.
Okay, look. Let me talk a little bit. So, in my experience, people that have become amoral, egoists, or just egoists, even if they don't admit to be amoral, I think the more amoral they are, the more amoral egoists they are, the happier they're going to be. I haven't done any research on this. But if I can convert a person, like a person who is depressed, what I would try and do is convert them into amoral egoism. It wouldn't be immediate, but it will take roots in their brains, and they'll start seeing the world more honestly, that they really are amoral. And the reason they were depressed was because they were denying themselves of who they were. They were egoists, and they were told that they're not egoists, that it's a bad thing to be an egoist, and this caused them depression. And once I tell them that is what you are, that is your nature, but that doesn't mean you need to be an asshole. You can actually be the nicest person in the universe and be an amoral egoist. And here is how it's done properly, scientifically.
But in order to do that, you're appealing to whatever you believe their preferences to be. And that's usually a good approach because most humans have similar preferences.
No, it has nothing to do with preferences. No. No, it's nothing to do with preferences. There's no preference. I don't.
But an egoist,
I know.
an egoist would act in their own self
Yeah,
interest.
that's for sure. I mean, I don't know if they like vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. I just tell them to stop caring about what people say and do what you
Sure,
really like. And once they start
but
realizing that, they become so successful and so happy immediately, instantaneously. They're like, "Wow, this is so strengthening." I give them strength, and I give them a reason to live.
this is the break here where I'm saying that a scientific theory cannot
This
exist
is
that
a
explains
scientific.
this part.
It
Is
is.
that you say,
It is
wait,
a scientific
it
theory. I'm telling them a scientific
it is
theory. It is a science. I'm giving them
sure,
in my scientific theory is that we all are actually a moral egoist. It is a scientific theory.
yes,
I'm just letting them
yes,
know
we
that's my
agree,
scientific theory. I'm just sharing with them a
we
scientific
agree here.
theory. Namely, I have
Yes.
noticed people pretending to be vegans and altruists. Let me explain to you. Okay, let's study this phenomenon.
Wait,
And go ahead.
No, 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 don't move on yet,
Go
because
ahead.
we're almost there.
Go ahead.
And I'll buy into this scientific theory that everybody is an amoral egoist. However, the egoist part there is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Well,
What does it mean to be an egoist? And tell me if I get this wrong. An egoist is someone who acts in their own self-interest.
yeah, that's what I
But
do.
then, what is
That's what
their
I
interest?
do. Nevertheless, I'm the best. I'm a model citizen.
Sure, but what is that interest part?
I
That's a
just want.
preference.
I want to optimize
That's
my life.
an
As
ethical.
as I want to optimize my life, I'm the best neighbor anyone has ever seen. I'm the best boyfriend anyone has ever seen. I'm the best family member anyone has ever seen. I'm just a model citizen in all my interactions with any creature on this earth. And I enjoy the most. My life is now filled with joy, where it used to be full of depression and terribleness. Now it's full of happiness and joy. And I just want to share this
So that
revelation.
that is a potentially measurable scientific thing. Is the amount of
Yes,
joy
definitely.
can also be called utils in utilitarianism, as in maximizing the most amount of joy, least amount of pain for everybody involved
No,
would be a
it's not.
loose definition of
I don't think.
utilitarianism, right?
No,
So that is measurable. However,
no,
however,
no. It's
let's
not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's the opposite. It's literally the opposite of utilitarianism. This is egoism.
right,
It's
right.
all about me.
Yes, yes.
I don't. You're
I
not.
know we're on the same page
I
here.
ran.
We're on the
No,
same page.
but this is not utilitarianism. So I did the
I
game
know.
where you.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
Let me just tell you.
I'm
So I
saying that
ran
in
the game.
utilitarianism, you have to
Let me
you measure.
let me say something. Look, so last night I played. It's on one of my channels. It's on my channel. So I played the game with the trolley. So basically, every time I had to do something, I
Oh,
would rather not do
is that the
anything. But if it was about me, I'm an egoist. I don't care. I don't care if anybody else dies because I have to live.
is that the one where there's like 40 different stages and like you can push a fat person off a cliff in front of a train to save a little girl or something
That
like that?
specific one wasn't there, but there were plenty of trolley problems. Plenty, really
Yeah. Okay.
trolley
Okay.
problems.
Is that the one where like as you go through the game, it sort of like brings back decisions you've made before and chastises you for them, that
No,
kind of thing?
it's not really. You can play it. It's available online. It's not that good. I mean, I was hoping
I think I know the.
it's not that good, but the
I
point
think I know the
is,
one you're talking about.
when I'm faced with a trolley problem, I'm not a utilitarian. I would not kill one person to save five. I just don't get involved. I don't know who that one person might be. Me, my parent, my family member, someone who's close to me. Where the five might be the biggest assholes from high school that I would want to execute. So I'm not a utilitarian.
But that statement you made is not true, and it's not one that you believe in.
I'm
That you
not
would
a
preserve yourself,
utilitarian.
or
I'm an egoist.
wait. No. As an amoral egoist, you wouldn't always preserve yourself over others, because you gave the lieutenant jumping on a grenade example, which is totally coherent with amoral egoism, because it could, in that individual, their ego could be fulfilled by their preferences
I
by
would not-
sacrificing themselves
No, I
in
would not
service
sacrifice.
of their men.
No, specifically in that, yes, I would sacrifice myself. I would even sacrifice my life to save a puppy from a bully. But
But you could say that an
me say
amoral
something.
egoist
let me say something.
would find that
Let me
coherent.
let me just say something. Look, it's not. I'm not always willing to give up my life for others. Usually, I'm not. So, of course, I would not give up my life for bullies, even for 1,000,000 bullies or 1,000,000,000,000 bullies. They can all, I would rather execute them. As a good man, I want to defeat all evil. You can give me a bunch of Putins and the rest of the evil gang. I would execute them right away. I wouldn't give my life. I wouldn't give my pinky, the tip of my pinky. I wouldn't give it. Of course, I want to kill these people. These are evil. These are Hitlers. So I wouldn't. I'm not a utilitarian. I don't care about numbers. I don't do the number
Right.
calculation.
Okay. Forget utilitarian. That was I shouldn't have brought that up.
Okay.
But in amoral egoism, so if you assume that there is an amoral egoist, and this lieutenant is an amoral egoist, and he decides to jump on a grenade in service of his men, that can still be understood perfectly rationally within amoral egoism, correct?
Yes.
However, him not jumping on that grenade could also be totally explained within amoral egoism, correct?
No. He's not an amoral.
I mean, depending on the circumstances.
Look, I mean, it's okay. It's not. It's not clear. I mean, I would say because an amoral.
I mean, you can imagine both scenarios where he does and he doesn't jump on the grenade, and both.
He's not
in both circumstances, you can imagine a scenario in which this is in service to his own.
I don't know. Look, it gets complicated in these edge cases, and you have to think through it. But my intuition is, of course, it's not even my intuition. I am completely prepared to, and chances that I had immediately, I jump in front of a bully to defend the weak instantaneously, no questions about it.
And,
It's instant.
but that's where we're breaking down. Is that your intuition is giving you ethical evaluations that are not scientifically provable and have nothing to do with amoral egoism.
Look, I'm just trying to optimize
Most-
my life. I'm just trying to optimize because my consideration is if this
Yeah,
bully.
optimize for what
Let me
though?
talk.
Optimize for what though?
Okay. So my consideration is if this bully is now attacking the kitten, well, I might be next. So we need to stop him right now. A. B. If somebody sees the way he misbehaves, then other people might decide, oh, then it's totally worth it to be a bully, and then society crumbles. So I want to stop that ASAP. The way to do
Okay.
it is immediately step and defend the kitten from the bully.
But you're optimizing for your own preferences. That's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
You're optimizing for your own ethical
Yes.
evaluation.
No.
And that's what I'm saying cannot be determined
no.
scientifically.
Don't
You can't
say
observe
No.
moral.
No ethical. Stop smuggling in these weird words. I don't use ethics in my life. It's my personal gain. I'm not going to save the kitten because I'm ethical. I'm going to
okay,
save the kitten for my personal gain because I'm next. Because society is crumbling and I'm next. That's why I'm going to step in front of the kitten and step up to the bully and die if I have to.
Let's assume that that's true. Let's assume that we know that to be true. That if you don't step in front of the kitten, in front of the bully to save the kitten, then you will be next.
No, that's unscientific. No, you cannot know the future. So those hypotheticals you have to you have to get rid of them.
Well, no.
I think so.
We can still evaluate hypotheticals.
No, you can't. No, you
with
no.
scientific theory.
Look, you can try, but it's join is clipping and
even if we know that if you don't do this, you will be next. You still, without smuggling in those preferences, you cannot determine that you ought to step in front of that bully.
I'm telling you, it's based on my egoism. So if you're telling me, well, you know you're not next, okay, then my everything breaks down.
No, that you know you are next.
Fine. That I know that I am next.
That you know you are next.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Wait, what? I know that I'm next.
So in this hypothetical, there's a bully bullying a kitten, and it's absolutely certain that if you stop this bully, then the kitten will be saved. And if you don't stop this bully, then eventually some Rube Goldberg machine will occur, and
Nothing
you're the
to
next
do with
victim of the
kitten.
Holocaust, or something,
It has
something like that.
nothing to do with
So-
the kitten. It has nothing to do with the kitten.
Right,
Nothing to do with
right,
the kitten.
right.
We need.
So
We need.
we know
hold
for
on,
sure. We know
let
for
me-
certain
hold on.
if you do not save the kitten,
No.
yeah, you're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding me here.
Okay.
That we know for certain that if you do not save this kitten here, then you will be next. You will be killed, maimed, tortured, something like that.
Okay.
And so,
I'm lost.
even knowing that, you cannot scientifically determine
What?
that you ought to stand in front
I
and
never
save this
said-
kitten.
I never said any of that. I never said that. I never said I need to scientifically.
No, I said it.
Okay, but that's even. Okay.
But so
don't
this is
What do you mean you
this whole
said it?
conversation is
Wait,
coming from
Taiska,
the idea that you said that veganism is not a scientific theory,
Insert a
and
word.
veganism is not a scientific theory.
Wait.
It's an ethical framework.
Wait, you're not letting me talk. What's going on? You see, you're going back to your old self where you kept steamrolling me. So why are you doing that? That's not nice. You're not being forthcoming. You're not being. You're not shooting straight. That doesn't make any sense. If you really want to have a discussion, and when I stop you, please stop. I mean, what's going on? Okay, go ahead and be
But
prepared to stop.
you still haven't resolved the incongruence here between the scientism and the ethics here. Because again,
I don't
veganism
use
is not a
ethics.
scientific theory.
I don't
There's-
stop saying ethics.
There's no prediction.
Stop
What?
saying ethics. I don't use that word. Stop using it. I don't know what it means. You haven't defined it. So don't use it. Use something else.
The whole reason you came in here was to discuss that veganism is nonsense.
Yes. It's
Uh,
it's an unscientific. Well,
and then you argued that
there's many
veganism is a
ways-
scientific
look,
theory.
there's many ways I could have proved veganism is utter nonsense. The easiest way is it's unscientific, therefore it's nonsense. If it's unscientific, I don't know what it means.
It doesn't propose to be scientific.
Then it's nonsense. Then you're just conceding that it's nonsense. It's
That's
fine.
not true. That's not true.
Well,
Then amoral
my
egoism is also
definition,
nonsense.
it's in my definition. It's fine. It doesn't have to be yours. In my definition, it's
Your definition of nonsense.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how to relate to right. And then you started asking me questions, and I told you immediately, I don't know how to answer these questions. I don't know what to do with these questions. Would you steal? Do you steal? I told you I don't answer these questions. Certainly not without a in front of a judge. If a judge forces me to answer these questions, I would even have to answer to the judge. I don't know. I don't know how to relate to these questions. These are unscientific questions. I don't know how to relate to these questions. What do you want me to say? Tell me what you
But
want
that's
me to say. I'll
precisely
say
the
it.
type of question. That's precisely the type of question that veganism aims to deal with.
What do you mean? What question?
Ethics.
What does that mean?
If you
Fine.
say that you
Fine.
can't answer whether
Fine.
it is immoral to steal,
Define. No.
I agree.
Just define ethics. Define it.
That's quite complicated,
Yeah, I
I
know.
suppose. Yeah,
No.
the difference between is and ought. Ethics would be the difference between good and evil. I
Define.
mean, I feel like
I'll help you. I'll help you. Define good.
we agree on 99%.
I'll help you. Define good.
What was that?
I'll help you.
An
Define-
ethic is just the attitude of a subject. What are you talking about? Dude, you're not good at this.
Taika, do you want to give up and
I
let
think
somebody
that
else
you
handle it?
could- No.
An ethic
Because
is just
I
the
disagree.
attitude of a subject. Simple.
Taika, do you want to?
That doesn't really
Arrest-
add much
arrest-
explanatory power. So the attitude
Yes, it does.
could be attitude towards what? Your ethics or your preferences.
Attitude towards a proposition.
It sounds like you two need to figure things out. Do you want me?
There's nothing to figure
No,
out.
I disagree.
But
with
anyways,
this guy.
Mr. Slave,
I
you're
disagree with this
retarded.
guy. He's
And
not-
even this low-level guy took a shit on you. Rhetorically, though, this is one of the most unimpressive performances on both parts of the interlocutors in this case. This is embarrassing.
Anyway, Taiska, I enjoyed the conversation. Look, at the point where you introduce ethics, and because then you say good, and I'll question what do you mean by good. It's a dead end for you. That's why I didn't.
Absolutely, and that is what I'm arguing for you.
Wait,
Is that you propose that veganism is nonsense because it's an ethical framework, but you're not evaluating the ethics behind it, and you say that it's
define
unscientific,
ethics.
which it doesn't. It doesn't propose that it is scientific.
Define ethics. You keep using that word. Define it. What is ethics?
Let's see, what is a good definition? Ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity.
Define
The
moral.
branch of knowledge
No,
that
it's good.
deals
No,
with moral
it's good.
principles.
Define moral.
Morality are principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and
Define
bad
right.
behavior.
No, it's
A
okay.
particular system
It's
of
okay.
values
Define right.
and
It's
principles of
fine. I
conduct,
don't need
especially
to.
one
I don't
held.
care. I don't care. You use the word I don't understand. Define right. You said right and wrong. Define right.
I mean, I feel like we could go down this tree for quite a while, but
Exactly. Yeah.
you know what right and wrong is.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. Unless this is
I mean,
scientific theory.
you know the concept of right and
want to
wrong.
propose a scientific
Whether an
theory?
action, any particular action, can be evaluated as right and wrong, maybe is in contention.
Tiska,
But
Tiska.
we understand what right and wrong are.
I don't. Tiska, do you want to propose a scientific theory about right and wrong? I can. I can help you with that. That's easy. But I don't think that's going to help your case, because then your morality. Your
Well, I mean, ethics
Tiska,
ethics is like an entire branch of philosophy, and I don't know shit about philosophy, and I don't really care.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you. After you talk to me, you're gonna mop the floor with the rest of the idiots on Discord, especially the ones claim to believe in philosophy. So, look. So I can help you define morality and ethics scientifically, but that's not gonna help your case. It's just gonna be a scientific definition. It's just gonna be we have noticed a scientific phenomenon where people use the word ethics. People say things are ethical and stuff like that. Let's evaluate. Let's analyze this scientific phenomenon. Is that gonna help you? I don't think so. So look.
What I'm saying this entire time is that ethics is not a scientific phenomenon.
Then I don't care.
It's a phenomenon in philosophy.
Like God, then you might as well don't use it. If it's not, I cannot relate to it. I'm sorry. Honestly, this is after.
And yet you use it every day.
Never use it. Never.
Every human uses
never
it
use
every
the word
day.
ethics. Never in my life use the word ethics. Absolutely never. It's useless.
No, you utilize the concept of right and wrong.
Never in my life. Never. I'm always optimizing. I'm always talking to people about optimal decisions, about what's best. What's the best choice?
That is an ethical consideration. Best.
No,
Best.
no, it's not. No, it's optimization. I only
Best
deal. No,
smuggles in a concept of preferences.
no. Look, I work within the legal framework. So, but that is still. I'm just trying to optimize. All my choices include a legal framework. I deal with gravity. I can't jump and fly in the air. I'm not right. So within this limitation, I look at. I try to find the optimal solution for every problem in my life. It's not the most ethical.
Okay,
I don't even know what that would
let's try again. Should we legalize murder?
Look, I don't.
Should be easy, right? No.
Okay, so should we let's rephrase it. Should we legalize stealing candy from candy stores? Let's be YouTube.
Yeah,
friendly.
sure.
Okay, so let's propose it as a scientific theory that we have noticed a phenomenon. Let's assume we've noticed a phenomenon.
Wait. No. Get out of the science. Should we legalize this thing that we know to be morally bad? We know that
Let me
stealing candy from a candy store.
Let me answer. You stopped me from answering in order to repeat the question. That's not nice. So my answer, you probably know how to phrase my answer. I'm going to take your question, phrase it as a repeating natural scientific phenomenon, and tell you, let's begin to analyze it using modern science. That's all I do. That's my life, nothing else. And I don't know how to do anything else. Honestly, I honestly don't know how to do anything else. I believe it's undoable. Anyone claiming it's doable is lying. Anything unscientific is undefined. Either you live your life scientifically, or I don't know what you're doing. Honestly.
Is philosophy scientific?
Well, again, we've noticed a natural phenomenon by which some people claim to be philosophers. We can start with that. What else do you want me to say? we've noticed, we have noticed a scientific phenomenon that there is a language, right? A language is an evolutionary construct. A language is a natural phenomenon that maybe we can call philosophy. Or we've noticed this. We've noticed a phenomenon. You could say we've noticed a phenomenon of philosophy. It includes certain data points on on a multivariable spectrum, whatever. Like you can include anything you want as data to enter into this phenomenon. Sure, we can analyze this scientific natural phenomenon of philosophy. We can try and analyze it scientifically.
What's your favorite song? Or pick a song that you think to be beautiful. Any song. Doesn't have to be
I haven't
your,
heard.
your absolute favorite.
I haven't heard a song. I think okay. I'm
Or painting.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the morning. You've never heard.
That's a song?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a rap.
And you believe it to be a good song.
No, I never said
Has
no. I never said that. Because other people hate rap. This is a rap song. Many people consider rap to be not music.
right.
So I wouldn't say.
And so there is
good
this
song.
concept of preferences.
Okay.
You cannot scientifically determine that it's a good
Are you
song.
out of your mind? It's a literal. It's a field in mathematics. Preference theory,
What
choice
is?
theory.
Yes. Well, yes, I would say it's a field in philosophy, but you
No,
can analyze
I didn't
what
say
people's
philosophy.
preferences are.
I
But you
actually-
can't. You cannot.
I didn't say philosophy. I said mathematics.
Yes, you said mathematics. I would argue that it belongs in philosophy, but
Okay,
that's
so certain.
beside
I
the
would
point.
say then fine. I would say certain.
But you can analyze
Yeah, I'll
what
help
people's
you.
preferences
I'll help
are or what they are likely to be,
help
but you
you.
cannot determine what they ought to be.
Kiska, stop. I'm trying to help you. So certain parts of philosophy are scientific, like mathematics and logic. I would say are scientific branches of philosophy, and with those, I can easily deal with those. I don't know any other parts of philosophy that are scientific. Maybe they exist. Math and logic are I consider them sciences, scientific, like scientific philosophies, if you want.
I think we're maybe we've burned out all of the topic left on this conversation. But what I'm trying to illustrate is that you are smuggling in this concept of preferences. That's where morality comes from.
I'm not.
As in, you can
smuggling.
analyze what
That's
people's
your
preferences
definition.
are.
If
Or,
your definition of morality, this is what happened to me with Dr. Avi. And ask yourself, if your definition of morality is preference, then let me just say,
it involves what preferences ought to be.
let me just
That's what
send you
morality.
a friend request.
That's the problem that you're running into with
Okay.
why you're
Look, this is what happened.
not
Ask
not
yourself,
able to analyze this.
Dr. Avi. So if you're saying that morality and ethics are just preferences, then your veganism is as ethical as Nazism. And that's where my name comes from. Normative entangler, that's the claim of Ask Yourself. He claims that because I make this claim or something, that's why he calls me a normative entangler instead of my real name, Mr. Slave. Anyway, so your veganism and Dr. Avi's and Ask Yourself and they all conceded your veganism is as ethical as Nazism. You have to concede that point. Dr. Avi conceded, Ask Yourself conceded. You have to concede. And if you concede that, then
So
fine.
for the record, I am not a vegan. And
Then
and again, you're smuggling in. I think normative entangler
Let me help you.
maybe is an apt.
The position you're defending is as ethical, according to you, as Nazism. You might as well defend Nazism. Actually, that is what you are doing. That's the problem with smuggling this word ethics. That's why I refrain from this word. It gets you in real trouble.
You're smuggling in ethics here.
I never.
because you think that it's a major concession to
I
say
never
that they
use.
are
What do you mean?
equivalent,
What do you
because
mean
you
I
know
smuggle? How
intuitively
can
that
you
they
say
are
I
not.
smuggle?
You
I
believe
never.
Nazism to
I.
be some
How
form of
can
evil.
you say? How can you say I smuggle a word? I told you I always avoid in my entire life. There's words I avoid. Ethics is one of them.
You avoid using the word, but the concept is one that you use every day. You
You're
can't
looking at,
avoid using
I
it.
don't use
Determining what
I don't use the concept. I only optimize my life and people that I that I consult with. I just tell them let's discuss what is optimal. I always look for optimal solutions. There's no I don't think about ethics. I don't think about that. I think about
but that optimal. That
temptation.
optimal is the preference that you're optimizing for. You're smuggling in that concept of whatever your preferences are.
Yes.
You need
That's
that in order to
smuggling.
determine
I'm
what is
not
right and wrong, what
smuggling.
is best, what is
Stop.
beautiful.
Stop. I'm not
But you
smuggling.
utilize these
Stop.
concepts.
Stop. I'm not
I've got a
stop.
guy who
Stop.
also wants to talk about the concept.
I'm not smuggling preference. And I'm not using ethics. I'm not smuggling preference. I use preference. I am not smuggling. I use preference. It's a mathematical field called preference theory.
No, it is not.
What?
That you can analyze what preferences are, but you cannot analyze what preferences ought to be.
I didn't say it. I didn't say, why would I say what preference what you should prefer, chocolate or vanilla ice cream? I need to decide that for you. That's not possible. What are you talking about? Okay, I think you're burnt out. All right, look, I sent you a friend
I've
request.
got a
I
there's
enjoyed the
another
debate.
guy. There's another guy here who Alice Noel wants to speak.
It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know. I don't like long streams. Go ahead. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, you said that Nazism is like veganism, but why do you bring up Nazism when you say that you don't even know what ethics are? Like you're clearly trying to imply some like emotional kind of thing into that statement.
Okay. So none of what you said is true. So start over. Be prepared for me to stop you. So I'll correct you with each and every mistake you made. So start over. I'll help you to remember. Go ahead.
Okay, you said Nazism is like veganism.
I didn't say that. I said, I mean, you could say, I could have said that, but let's just be, let's just be more accurate. It's recorded. It's on video what I said. It's my debate with Dr. Avin. Ask yourself from about 2 years ago. So I said if they said ethics and morality are just preferences. That's their definition. So I said, fine. Then your veganism is as ethical as Nazism, right? You have to agree with that. Unless, okay, either you agree or disagree with that. You have to agree with that. I'm not. It follows. It follows directly from the previous statement. It follows, right? The Nazis obviously preferred to be Nazis. They preferred Nazism. That was their preference. All right, So your veganism is a preference that you prefer, okay? And the Nazis preferred, okay? So your veganism is as ethical as Nazism. Literally, I can't help you. You did that to yourself. I'm trying to get you out of this trouble. You don't want me to get you out of trouble. I'm trying to get you out of trouble. You're getting yourself in trouble. You're using a word that gets you in trouble. That's why I don't use ethics. It gets you in
Okay, but what about like the victims of the preference? Why don't they get to prefer not to die?
what? Wait, so you concede or not? Wait, let's put this, to sleep. Do you concede that your
No.
veganism? Okay, then explain what do you disagree with? It completely follows. I didn't say it's complete deduction. it's, what? Tell me how you can disagree with that. I'm really anxious to hear it. Surprise me with an answer. You said no, then the answer is, then how is your veganism not as ethical as Nazism? How? If both are preferences, if you define morality and ethics as preferences, then your veganism is just a preference. That's what Dr. Avi Naskisov said. And the Nazis, their Nazism, we have to assume that's their revealed preference, as we call it in economics. All right, so since preference is morality, is ethics, then your veganism is exactly as ethical as Nazism. Where am I missing anything? Tell me where I'm missing. What did I miss something?
When you say as ethical, are you implying there's like a spectrum of ethicalness?
No. No, it follows from the definition. They said it's just a preference. They told me this again and again. Yeah, and it's recorded. Look, go listen to the video and ask yourself. Isaac said, and by ethics, do you just mean preference? I said, yeah. But what do you mean? Do I mean? That's what you said. That's not what I mean. That's what you said. So according to you, your veganism is as ethical as Nazism. According to you, I don't use the word ethics. I don't say ethics are a preference. I don't use the word ethics. I don't like that word. I use preference, yes, from the mathematical preference theory, choice theory, sure, price theory, of course. I don't use ethics. If you're telling me ethics is choice, preference is ethics, then how are you? Then where am I going wrong in my comparison from your veganism to Nazism? Please help me. I'm curious.
If I agree with that statement, does that mean veganism is wrong in any way?
No, unless you define like ethical as right and wrong. I mean that doesn't follow. I mean, but maybe from the definition of ethics, it follows right from the dictionary that ethics is right and wrong. And if you say that the Nazis were wrong, then you're wrong. Then your veganism is just as wrong. Whatever you do with Nazism, you have to do to veganism. Once you claimed both are ethics. Like I just say,
Just a sec here.
what?
So, would you say that it also applies to amoral egoism as well?
I don't use the word ethics. I just say it's my preference. You could say that about anything you want. My preference is to be. I don't even say that it is not my preference to be an egoist. I don't even know if that's true. I just noticed that everyone is an egoist. I'm just admitting what we all are. I'm not even choosing to be. I mean, everyone is an egoist. If you claim you're not an egoist, you're just a liar. Of course, you're an egoist. You're not going to serve yourself as the next dinner of the next alligator you're going to meet. Obviously, you're not an altruist. So, obviously, you're an egoist. You're actually going to try and kill the alligator that's going to try to eat you. Obviously, you're an egoist. But you wouldn't say you are. Okay, but you are. We just all are. I don't go walking around telling everyone I'm an egoist. I don't choose to be an egoist. I don't choose for the universe to be egoistic. It's Darwin. Have a talk with Darwin why evolution made us all egoists. But it did.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What is your view on conflicts? Like, let's say two people want one apple. Who gets the apple? They're both egoists, and they both want the apple. So, what determines who gets the apple?
First of all, I believe in non-interference. Let them hash it out. Maybe they'll figure it out. Whatever needs to happen should happen.
So they like just go fight each other?
Whatever they want. They could sign a contract in certain states. They could go kill each other too. In certain states, I think it's still legal to duel to the deaths. It's up to them.
So what do you think about slavery? Are the slaves supposed to just
I'm a slave.
like sort it out with their master?
You're talking to a slave. So I love slavery, obviously. Yeah? Did we lose the audio? Is there anyone alive? Did I say something that did anyone become confused? I love slavery, of course. I fantasize about slavery, and there's many men like me and many women. Many people fantasize about being slaves. Yeah.
What was the concession that you were asking for about Nazism and veganism again? Can you state that again?
So if you claim, but really we need to finish because I don't want to drag it out. Let me see. There's 3 people. My chat is kind of active. I want to keep. Let's finish up. So I'll just. But you want me to remind you? So
I have.
it's on video.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, and then I'm going. I'm enjoying this. I'll come back some other time to start it over. Go ahead.
I saw that one. So what would be a benefit of slavery? But I think that's an answerable question. For instance, obviously the reason that it was an institution that existed throughout human history is because having slaves allows you to have work done, but you don't have to do it. There's an ethical principle that people ought not be slaves, but that's an ethical framework.
But I'm pro-slavery. What's your question? Do you have a question? You said you have a last question.
Why do you think most people are not pro-slavery?
They're
Because
dumb.
that is we can verify that that's true.
Most people are dumb. Most people are liars. Most people lie about everything. They're either lying or they're dumb or both. I don't know. Slavery is terrific. I love it. All right, guys, I gotta go. It was terrific. Next time we can start with why I love slavery so much. It has many benefits, like smoking. Smoking and benefits are terrific, and it's not a joke. As you know,
The fact of the matter is that you do use the idea of ethics and your preferences every day. You can't not do so. And so you've got to take this argument and you've got to disentangle the assumed preferences from the science, because ethics is not a branch of science. You cannot determine. You cannot.
Okay, I gotta
you
go.
cannot get an ought from an is.
I promise.
Wait, can I ask one last question?
Oh my God! Last. All right, go ahead.
Let's say you know the trolley problem, right?
Yes.
Okay, so instead of one person being on the other side of the track, what if it's nobody? Do you still not involve yourself in the situation?
That's a good question. I mean, it doesn't go. It's not about me. It's about anyone. So what do you do? I mean, the question is, what if it's bad people? But what if it's Hitler? You don't know. In general, I would. Of course, I would run to save. I would risk my life probably to save these people. Sure. I would possibly die trying to rescue them. I need to think about it. It's a possibility to risk my life to save them.
Would you kill anybody to save them?
Well, depends on who. Like if somebody tries to stop me from saving them, they're dead, or I'm dead. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be a
But
bad
that
day.
contradicts what you earlier said about the situation where you would just not involve yourself into the situation.
If it's one and many, I don't know who that one is, who the many are. Because look, if you take action, you're gonna be accused of a crime, of murder.
Let's say there's a bag over their heads and you just have no clue
It's a
who it is,
problem.
just in general.
I don't get involved in like where. Look, I don't know. I honestly, it's not just me. I mean, that's what I think. Like most of what the choices that I made, that was always part of. I mean, everything is very close to 50-50. It's not like I did anything that's not 50-50 or the answers were obvious. I never got anything like off the chart wrong against, they tell you the statistics. So everything I answered was close to the majority, or the minority was big. The minority was always like 1/3. When it was like a small minority, it never got to below 1/3, I think. Like 20.
Wait, so it would be your preference to save that one person. Let's say it's a different egoist and they don't want to save it.
It doesn't
So
matter.
like it would be your egoist position to save that one person. So what if it's someone else who's also an egoist and they don't want to save them? Let's say they kill 1 million people just out of spite.
Wait, what? That's not ego. An egoist doesn't kill anyone out of spite. That's not the egoist position. Look, you misunderstood.
Oh, they do it out of their own pleasure.
Then that's a psychopath. Then all good men that I will stand with all good men shoulder to shoulder against evil.
Good men? I thought you're an egoist, an amoral egoist. What do you mean all good men?
It's right. So all good men in this case are like the men that protect civilization. So this is a very technical term. So yeah, whatever. It's all good men. It's all those men that are like the founding fathers, like all good men that like stand shoulder to shoulder against evil. Like this is a case where I just use the term good and evil, where good technically just means we want to protect society, and evil means they're the enemies of society. And society is that society that I choose to live with, my preference of a society. So if I have to choose between living as part of the society of Putin or the U.S., I prefer the U.S., and therefore Putin is my enemy. So we all need to stand shoulder to shoulder against Putin. Anyway, we can continue this next time. I'm not saying it's simple. I'm just saying, look, that's the way I live my life. I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to share my scientific contemplations. Anyway, thank you everyone. See you next time. I'll come back. I really enjoyed it. You guys are great. Good night.
Good night.
All right, we got some messages. Oh, in the general. Hey, how do I get in the conversation, Mr. Slave? Hey, how do I get in the debate? All right, so he ran away. Yeah, Vegan Gains runs away because he's streaming and getting his face used as a mop for the cleanliness of my room. All right, do we have new subscribers? This should be interesting. Did we gain subscribers? Oh, Vegan Gains is a subscriber? Oh, that's pretty good. Hey, it's a good day. What's happening here? It's a good day. Judas, let's see what's going on. Can't and at work all day today. Okay. All right, good job. All right, let's see some comments. Do we has comments? Oh my God, we has comments. All right, 4 people are still watching. You are a complete joke, laughing my ass off. Mob luck. Well, it's a weird face. All right, next person. Miles Drummond. You are utter nonsense. Jesus. All right, good comments. All right. By Sovereign Seamus. Thumbs down. Love is the only way to be free. All right. Emperor. Veganism is good for health. Yeah, maybe, but that's not veganism. Veganism is a ethical framework. Next, Emperor says veganism is ahimsa, or a non-violent diet. Yeah, yeah. Well, killing yourself is a non-violent diet, even more. So why don't you, right? You would never do that. So why would you go? So always dial to 11 your thesis, and then you'll know if it makes sense. You'll get a good feel for it. So yeah. Emperor, veganism is a Jaina dietary practice. Yeah, I heard about the Jainists. Yeah, they protect tiny spiders, but their house is built like their house is built where animals used to live. Then, so they're egoists. They're just pretending to be ethical. Jainism reveres the Tirthankaras. No, it doesn't. It's pretend. It's fake. They're egoists. They're pretending to be something else to get, favors. It's virtue signaling. They don't serve themselves. as food for bears and other wild animals. So they're lying, or for their home cat. Mahavira was the most recent. I don't know what you're talking about. Veganism is pure vegetarianism. No, veganism is different. Veganism is ethical, vegetarianism is dietary. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this show. And, the last thing I expected was for this to go like to go Sputnik, but it was nice. All right, everyone. All right. Uh, that's good. All right. I'm gonna go. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.